From the lochs of Scotland to the lakes of England, the Kelloggs Tour discovered one of Britain's finest landscapes yesterday as it toured to the Lake District, passing Bassenthwaite, Grasmere and Windermere. It then was up the steep slope of the Kirkstone Pass. 100,000 people watched the day, and many helped create a happy atmosphere along the route. But not all went well. A crash caused by an oncoming motorist injured 5 riders, including last year's winner Phil Anderson and the British champion Brian Smith. They both continued on, and Brian Smith needed a tourniquet to stem the blood. When the race regrouped, the riders stopped and vented their feelings of frustration over one driver's actions, before tempers cooled and the race arrived in style in Blackpool. In an exciting sprint finish, won by the Dutchman Wieben Veenstra, the whole field came home together. Overall, little change, and the Italian Maurizio Fondriest keeps his yellow jersey this morning, his 4 seconds advantage over Vyacheslav Yekimov of Russia. In 3rd place, Scott Sunderland, and in 6th place now, Wieben Veenstra. Hello and welcome this morning to a very windy Bolton. Well, it's a double dose for the riders today. After the short time trial here, over 7.8 miles, we go down to Liverpool for an afternoon circuit race around the streets of the city. Well, the riders know that the time trial is a crucial phase in any stage race. They know too that they've nowhere to hide, as Paul Sherwin explains.
The time trial is known as the race of truth because now the riders who want to take the overall standings can no longer shelter in the big pack. They have to ride over the 7.8 mile course at full speed. Preparation begins early in the morning with a big psychological build-up, preparing the body for maximum pain. Then the riders need to warm up for over 30 miles before actually setting off. Once they're out on the course, they become like blinkered animals, and it takes a very special person to concentrate and to be able to keep the speed and the heart rate up high. One of those men is here today, Vyacheslav Yekimov. Of the favourites, to me, he's the #1. But watch out for Maurizio Fondriest. Although he's returning from injury, the yellow jersey could motivate him to challenge the Russian all the way to the line.
And Bolton turning out in style today, closed roads for the 7.8 miles time trial. And the banners are here, and this one is of Ben Luckwell, who has done so well so far. That long breakaway on the first day, he's still the leader in the Ordnance Survey sprint competition. And the sponsors aren't forgotten either, and neither is Sean Yates. And there he is, Sean Yates, and it looks, Paul, as though he's lightening his load before he gets the final countdown.
Well, last-minute preparations, and looking at the face of Sean Yates here, he's very motivated this morning, that's for sure. He's in 63rd place at the moment, 28 seconds behind the leader, but Sean Yates at one time was one of the top time trialists in the world.
3, 2, 1, Yates.
So Yates is away, and this is the finish of the French rider on the GAN team, Didier Roux. He had the best time at the halfway point, and it's going to be the leader's time at the moment. This will be the standard as he comes up 15 minutes 52 seconds, and that's the leader, Didier Roux.
Yates out on the course here, he really is down in that tuck position. It looks as if, to me, he's going extremely well at the moment. You see he's down there on his tri-bars. This is an ideal course for a man like Yates. There aren't too many corners, it's not too technical, and he'll be able to get all his power. And at the halfway check there, Yates is going through with the best time in 8 minutes 02, so he's on a stormer.
Determined then, Sean Yates. Let's go back to the start. This is Rolf Aldag of the German Telecom team starting today in 41st place, just 28 seconds behind Maurizio Fondriest, the leader.
3, 2, 1, Aldag is away.
So the German starts, while Sean Yates is now heading back into the finish here in Bolton, and his time is going to be a very good one indeed. He's maintained his rhythm. Remember, the time to beat is 15 minutes 52 seconds by the French rider Roux. And in fact, Sean is going to easily beat that, Paul. He comes up to the line now. The man who once won a time trial stage of the Tour de France has the best time, 15 minutes and 25 seconds. So Sean Yates has come here now clearly with the intention of doing a ride, and he has done it. Alan Piper's with him.
Start line ready.
Great ride, Sean. How was it out there, mate? Windy. You know, it's pretty hard on the way out. Crosshead. I thought it'd be tail on the way back when I warmed up, but I mean, it was slightly easier, but you know, my legs were tired from forcing it on the way out, and I was just trying to hang on. You looked really motivated before the start. Do you want to try and win this Kelloggs Tour? You know, I'd always like to win, and the time trial is a race of truth, and you know, I'm a home rider, so I had to try as hard as I could to see what happened. A lot of riders have come yet, so you know, I'm hoping I'm up there somewhere in the first 10.
Well, right now, Sean, you're at the top of the first 10 with the best time so far ahead of Rue, and John Clay of the Lex Townsend team is there in third place with 16 minutes and 2 seconds. The arrival now, Pascal Lance, a rider who was unlucky to miss the Tour de France because of an accident this year, and he is a very good time trialist. He's close, but not close enough. 15 minutes and 39 seconds. He'll go up into second place for the moment.
Well, this German rider is doing an excellent time at the moment. In fact, the time check coming through, he's got the second best time, just a couple of seconds outside Sean Yates' time, 8 minutes and 6 seconds. But he really is flying at the moment.
Well, I must confess, Paul, I didn't expect a good time trial out of Rolf Aldag. He is a terrific sprinter, but time trialing is not his speciality, but clearly he's enjoying the conditions here around Bolton this morning.
And he's really giving everything there. You can see he's trying to use all of his body. He's really forcing it along, and the man is really in great shape at the moment, and it may well be that he can come up with a good time trial today.
So that's Aldag out on the course. Let's go down to the finish, and this is the British champion, Brian Smith. Remember, he was one of the more seriously hurt yesterday in that crash. Well, he's finished. His time is not that good, 16 minutes 37 seconds, but even so, it's good to see Brian still in this race. And now, next to arrive will be Rolf Aldag. A little bit of a shaky turn on that left-hand bend, Paul. That may have cost him a little bit. He's very close to Sean Yates right now.
Well, in fact, he's just a couple of seconds away from the time of Sean Yates, and Yates admitted that it was a little bit hard over the last part of the course, and it may well be that he weakened a little bit. Aldag, it's going to be touch and go on the line here. 15 minutes and 17 seconds. 15:25 is the time of Sean Yates as we come down the finishing line. Aldag's giving it everything he got as he come up to the line here, and it looks to me as if it's just outside the time of Sean Yates, 15:27.
Sean can breathe again. 15 minutes 27 seconds. He's just outside the time done by Yates.
So you've just missed out on first place. 2 seconds after all that effort. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's pretty close, but I didn't expect such a good time, so I was just riding, tried to do everything. So I was riding 100%, and I mean, he beats me by 2 seconds, that's it. But I think there are still a few riders to come, maybe even with better time.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, Rolf. In fact, 100 riders starting at 1 minute intervals today. This is the situation at the moment, though. Yates ahead of Aldag, Pascal Lance third.
Phil, you look a bit cut up there, bandages everywhere. How are you feeling?
Okay, a little stiff. I got a bad right elbow right now, and I don't know how I'll be going this afternoon, but this morning I'll just be going pretty slowly, just making my own pace.
You're 36 years old. You've been in the pro game a long time. Having a crash like this is still scary.
Yeah, it's very scary, you know, but unfortunately it's part of the sport, and you know, you just got to think of getting over it, getting healthy again, and facing the next race.
Well, you're one of the toughest guys I've seen in the sport. I've seen you get up for some nasty falls. How do you rate this one?
Actually, this one's one of the worst. I think yesterday was, you know, the first time I had stitches. I think I had some many years ago in my forehead, you know, when I crashed in Ireland back in '78. But that's another decade.
Some of the people said it was pretty sad seeing a grown man such as yourself crying through the pain of getting his wounds cleaned out.
Yeah, it was very painful, but still it's a bit better today, and I'll be trying to get rid of those memories.
So you're going to get out there and give it hell on the bike now?
I don't know if I'll be giving my bike hell. I'll certainly be giving my body hell.
Good on you, Phil. Well, this is Anderson's teammate Norm Alvis coming home. Now, his time of the term is a good one, and it's close. It's not close enough, though, to get to Sean Yates. The clock just ticking on that little bit too far, 15 minutes 34 seconds. He will now be up to third place on those who have finished. Olaf Ludwig, 7th from last to start, 7th overall, and 20 seconds behind the leader. This man, the Olympic champion, when he rode for the former East Germany in 1988 in Seoul.
Well, he's been an excellent rider, that's for sure, and he really has tried over the last couple of weeks to get a good victory. He's had so many second places in the Tour de France, but coming up to the finish now, Phil Anderson has managed to get round the course today. He's obviously not forced it too much. That's his time on the bottom left-hand corner there, 16:45, but at least Anderson's in and safe.
Well, out on the course, we've got Olaf Ludwig, a former team time trial world champion, and look at the halfway time. He's finding his time trialing legs today. He's equal with Sean Yates on the turn, 8 minutes and 2 seconds, so he's now going to give Sean a run for his money. Let's go back to Alan Piper with the next rider to leave.
You're breathing down Fondriest's throat in the general classification. Do you think you can pull back that time and take the yellow jersey?
I don't think it's possible in the time trial, but hopefully we'll see how it goes tomorrow. We've got a couple more hilly days. I'm just going to try and minimise my time loss today from Yekimov and Fondriest, but it's going to be a difficult task because these guys are much better time trials than what I am. So we just see how it goes.
Even though you don't think you can win, will you still be going out there and giving it everything you've got?
Oh yeah, for sure. I got to.
This looks like Jans Verrada coming to the line, the green jersey at the moment. He's doing an excellent time too. He's going to be there, in fact, just outside the time of Sean Yates, 15:33, but I think he's going to move up into third place in the overall standings.
Well, here's Scott Sunderland now taking his marks, and the final countdown. King of the Mountains so far in this year's race, and he'll have to defend that tomorrow too in the Peak District. The arrival of Olaf Ludwig, we've seen his time at the halfway was equal, 15:25 to beat. He's going to do it, Paul. 15 minutes, 21 seconds, a new leader. Olaf Ludwig is now the leader of the individual time trial. He's just gone 4 seconds quicker than Sean Yates, and Ralph Aldag holds on there to third place. Jans Verrada is down to fourth.
Nobody can doubt this man in the individual time trial, a former world champion, a former world hour record, 4 seconds behind the leader. He's going to go out for a fine ride today, that's for sure.
So Yekimov goes, and another Russian rider is heading up towards the finishing line, Alexander Gonchenkov. And he was fourth at the start this morning. He's rocking and rolling. His time is going out a little bit towards the 16 minutes. So it's not been a good ride for him. 15 minutes and 53 seconds. And just over the shoulder there of Gonchenkov on the start house now, Maurizio Fondriest, the race leader. He won the opening stage, and now he's preparing for a very, very important phase for him. And just look at that helmet, Paul.
That's fantastic. The Pink Panther, it might be a lucky Pink Panther for Maurizio Fondriest today. This is, in fact, a little bit of a fashion that's starting amongst the European professionals, started by Claudio Chiappucci with that big devil helmet. But I think Maurizio Fondriest is going to get down to some serious business now.
Well, here's Scott Sunderland. He started 2 minutes ahead of Maurizio Fondriest, and I'm afraid he's dropping back. He's not a brilliant time trialist, and he knows he's being chased by arguably two of the greats of the sport of time trialing, Yekimov and Fondriest. And this is Yekimov starting 1 minute behind, in fact, and he's catching up towards Scott Sunderland. Let's get the halfway time. My goodness me, 8 minutes, 1 second. That's a second quicker than the best times we've had so far. And there's only Fondriest to come to the halfway mark. What a beautiful style he has.
This is one of the most fantastic styles we've seen, but this man out on the road here, Maurizio Fondriest, has got a yellow jersey to defend. He's held that yellow jersey since the first day, and he really is suffering. You can see the concentration on his face as he looks down there and really puts down some pressure.
And look at this, the only man to beat 8 minutes, Fondriest, the race leader, turning in 7 minutes and 49 seconds. Well, that time is going to be something special. Let's go up to the finishing line. The arrival now of Scott Sunderland. He is off the leaderboard, I'm afraid. He's gone outside 16 minutes. He'll lose his high position overall. He will, of course, still be the king of the mountains, though, by the end of this stage. Now approaching the finishing line, Vyacheslav Yekimov, the superb Soviet Union, ex-Soviet Union rider who once held 11 world records at the same time. He comes round that corner much, much quicker than the rest, quickly gets back into his stride.
He really has taken all the risks there, and he's going to power all the way to the line, but this is the man who's really giving everything out on the course at the moment. The fastest time at half distance, seconds ahead of everybody else. Fondriest is really, really in pain today.
So Yekimov now trying to search that last little bit of speed. He knows that behind him the yellow jersey is on a good one. He's aiming to beat 15:21. He's going to do that for sure. He's going to be the new best time with only one of the 100 riders left to finish. 15 minutes, 18 seconds for Vyacheslav Yekimov. He's lived up to his name. Now what can this man do? 4 months of the season ruined by injury. He's now fighting to come back into big-time cycling and possibly ride well in the upcoming World Championships in Sicily. And the time is going to be the best. Is he going to be inside 15 minutes? He is. 14 minutes, 58 seconds. Fondriest not only wins the stage, but he also will increase his overall lead. You can't do more than that. The face of Fondriest as he drives up towards the finishing line. Tremendous ride by this man, and his second win in 3 days. Overall then, Fondriest now 20 seconds ahead of Yekimov, 23 seconds ahead of Ludwig, and Sean Yates finishing a great 4th. Looking further down the list, Jan Zarada taking a good 6th place, and look at that, Gonchenkov slipping to 20th and Sunderland down to 25th. Well, on the podium and receiving this fine piece of Waterford crystal is the winner today, and of course the race leader, Maurizio Fondriest of Italy. He's beginning to enjoy his week here in Great Britain. Let's have a look at the overall situation now. Fondriest winning today by 20 seconds, increases his overall lead to 24 seconds ahead of Yekimov. Ludwig now is up to 3rd, and Sean Yates of Britain is right there too in 4th place. Further down the list, Gonchenkov slips to 7, and Frankie Andreou is the last of the top 10.
Vyacheslav, you did a great time, really fantastic. Maurizio was 20 seconds ahead. What do you think?
I think Maurizio, for the moment, he is the best in this race. He's the best rider. He was the best in the climb 2 days ago. He was the best today in time trial. So I think he's looking for a winner to overall.
So an exceptional ride by Maurizio Fondriest. Now it's into the tour cars and down to the city of Liverpool for the circuit race. We'll see you after the break. And welcome back. We've now moved to Liverpool down the East Lancashire Road for the 1.5 hours circuit race based here on William Brown Street. And I can tell you this is a city which has produced more than its fair share of cycling champions over the years. The 100 riders underway, and I can also tell you now that Maurizio Fondriest, who this morning increased his lead to 24 seconds overall, will survive the day, because a new international rule has been invoked, and the riders have just been told that this short stage will not count towards the general classification on time. But points will count for the green jersey competition and the Ordnance Survey sprint competition, which, by the way, is still being led by Britain's Ben Luckwell. And the early attacks all coming from Great Britain here. This is Dave Rayner on the attack. I think he's followed there by Mark Walsham as they start to move clear of the field. Well, that was on the opening lap. By lap 5, there was a new attack underway, being led by Zbigniew Spruk of Poland. And the rider in the yellow behind him was Bart Leysen, the Belgian rider. By the time they got round to the end of the lap and fighting out the Ordnance Survey sprint, they were ahead by 22 seconds, with the points being gained by Zbigniew Spruk. Well, the police were reporting the largest crowd seen in the city centre to watch a cycle race, and the riders were turning on the style. And they were waiting for no one as they progressed, so by lap 13, a chasing group developed to try and bring them back. It contained some famous names, including Edwin van Hooijdonk, Hendrik Verdant, and indeed André Schmil, the winner of Paris-Roubaix this year. The group were not making progress fast enough, so André Schmil attacked himself.
With 2 riders in front, still with 20 seconds, behind it was a real cat and mouse game. André Schmil had had enough. There were too many riders who wouldn't ride on the front and take their turn of pace, so he's attacked, trying to bridge the gap. Behind, they're still dallying. Let's hope Schmil can catch the front too.
So we're now seeing the 2 leaders. Time is running out for the chase behind. Schmil is after them. This is the second of the Ordnance Survey sprints of the day, and this time it's Bart Leysen taking it quite clearly from Zbigniew Spruk.
And that's going to be good news for Ben Luckwell, the leader of the Ordnance Survey sprints overall at the moment, because those 2 riders are not a great danger. But this man, André Schmil, is a danger for the 2 leaders, because he's closing down rapidly on them.
Well, Schmil is the rider in the centre of our picture. Unfortunately, Tim Harris on the left there punctured and has lost a lap. But this man is going like a train over the cobblestones of William Brown Street. This is the overall situation now at the end of the day in the Ordnance Survey sprint. Ben Luckwell has still a 10-point lead over Leysen, and indeed Spruk now moving up into 2nd and 3rd position.
Well, these riders are just 20 seconds back. It's a good chase group there. John Tanner from the United Kingdom leading the chase there, and Mark Mackay, a new professional on the rally squad.
And there was also in that group, I caught sight there of Jesper Skibby and Hendrik Verdant, but this man has got across so quickly. Schmil has joined the 2 leaders who have dominated this race this afternoon. So now Spruk and Leysen have a little bit of problem here as Schmil comes up, and gone from the chase group too. Hendrik Verdant is trying to reach him. We could have 4 men there soon.
Bredant has definitely seen the danger. He knows that Andre Semil was one of the strongest riders in that break, and if he can just get across to him, then victory is at the end of the road.
Well, these are the two leaders, and my goodness me, they're alone now, but they're in second and third place because with 3 laps to go, Andre Semil has come up to them and left them and gone forward. Well, this is exactly the way he won Paris-Roubaix in April this year. He broke clear near the end, and nobody could reach him. Well, Bredant is still coming up. This, in fact, is the remnants of the main field, because the attacks have gone off the front of them today. This is where the action is, and Bredant is now picking up the 2 chasers, and he's going to be a bit disappointed, Paul, to find that Semil has already gone.
He won't be a happy man because the bird has definitely flown, and this is the man who's doing the damage at the front. The tough man from Russia, Andre Semil, earlier in the year winner of Paris-Roubaix.
1 lap to go now for Semil, and Bredant, in fact, has also shed the other 2 riders. He's been trying to bring him back, but he's left it all too late. I'm sure of that now. The gap is much, much too big on this final lap. Back into William Brown Street, and Andre Semil gets the victory. He's a rider you know we could see winning the World Cup race here on Channel 4 next Sunday, because he'll be in action there. He's the World Cup leader. And this is the arrival of the second-place rider, Hendrik Bredant. I think a little bit annoyed with himself there, because he should have marked Semil much more closely. They were together at halfway through this race. The battle now for third place. On the right is Spruck, and on the left is Leysen. And Spruck this time comes clear, no problem at all. The sprint now for 5th place as the riders come up to the line. Jesper Skibby of Denmark gets it, and I think it's Rolf Aldag just behind him.
An excellent move and a very tactical race for Andre Semil, and the delay obviously belongs to him. A strong man from Russia who takes a beautiful victory here in Liverpool.
And Andre Semil then winning ahead of Bredant, Spruck, Leysen and Skibby, and Johan Museu taking 10th place, 6 points that will give him the green jersey lead tonight. And a nice memento for Andre Semil to take home. In fact, he now lives in Roubaix because he's based with the Belgian Lotto team. And the yellow jersey now looking much stronger on the shoulders of Maurizio Fondriest. He now leads this race by 24 seconds. And the man who finished second in the time trial this morning, Vyacheslav Yekimov, is second overall. Ludwig, Yates and Zarada is the order now. Well, there's just one thing to clear up before we say goodbye. I saw a banner out on the course today which asked the question, who was the Eagle of Toledo? Well, that was the great Spanish climber Federico Baramontes. He won the King of the Mountains in the Tour de France, a record 6 times, and he shares that record with the little Belgian Lucien Van Imp. Those banners are catching on. Keep them coming. Tomorrow, the race is on its penultimate day. We move down to Chester overnight, and then we race to Leicester, going over Mo Cop in the Peak District. Until tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, goodbye.